All right, y'all. Here we go. Today, we're going to go through my go-to rice bags. Usually, people will make these. They're very, very simple to make, and they will just hand sew the opening. But I find making a binding is so much more easier, and for me, it's more secure. I would like knowing if I send this to somebody that it's really, really secure for whatever reason they're going to be using them for. And plus, if you want to refill, you're not having to almost tear up into the seam. It's actually a binding. And this is a really, really handy for the ones that you make the channels. And you just pour down all those channels and then just sew a binding across all of it, because that is a lot of hand sewing. And so I have found I don't think there's too many tutorials that actually talk about this, just doing the binding. And you see, it doesn't look that bad either. And I think it's just way more secure. And it's a real go-to when you're doing the ones, the bigger rice bags with the channels. But I have a setup that I do. I'm going to put these back in this container. And I'll start showing you guys my setup, because I sell a lot of these, quite a bit. But these are just 10-inch squares and just one cut down the center, and I get the perfect size that I want to fold in half and to make a rice bag out of. But really simple. If you've got 10-inch squares, it's just one cut there at the 5-inch right across the center. Fold them up in half. That's one less seam you have to sew. Easy peasy. So I keep these green containers for the ones I'm selling, and it tells everybody the price and what kind of rice bag it is. And then I have extra bowls I have set aside for whatever rice this is. And this is the eucalyptus infused rice. And so I have, all of them. Here's my peppermint ready bags. You see, I just have one in there. So it's time to get some. And then there's my rice infused. And this can last for quite a while if you got a lid. Make sure you got some kind of plastic container with a lid. As you see, I'm reusing butter containers or some old Rubbermaid or McCormick containers. These are really cheap at the dollar store. So easy peasy. And I've got my funnel. I use this funnel just for rice bags because there's so much oil that goes through this. I wouldn't feel good about using it on food. And so really, really simple. I'm only going to make one or two of these on camera, and then I'm going to go through the rest and get some made up. But I love these colors, but this is really simple. All we're going to do is fold this in half. And you can pin if you want, but this is lining up really nice. I am going to go and press it so it lays flatter right quick. But these are so fast to make. See, now she's lying nice and flat. And so this is the folded edge. And so all I'm going to do is go up this side and then go up this side. And then we're going to turn it inside out. And this is where I'm going to be filling it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. Let me get my needle in the right position. And I usually do 2.5 because I want a real secure stitch. And I'm using my neat and cool little seam guide here. That makes everything just easier. Back stitch. Be sure to back stitch before. And when you get done, and I don't even cut my thread. I just pull out a little bit, And then go to this other side. And we're going to keep going. Easy peasy. And most of the stitching is actually already done. These are really neat and really fast. And I love having the floral pattern. I try to keep it to where I have some male and female ones. And just because I'm OCD like that, I am going to crimp with my scissors here this edge, so it just turns inside out really nice and neat. Because if not, you could just come in and this corner right here where the stitches are, you could just clip if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. Get this thread out of my way here. So all we're going to do is find that open end and turn it inside out. And I got some new tools. I finally ordered me a Turner inside outer. I have no idea what these are. But I'm sure if you're a sewer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I can turn, so precise. I love it. But yeah, I ordered these on Temu, and I finally got me one of these to press down the seams, and it's so cute. Ordered it on Temu, and I think the whole set was about $20. Absolutely crazy. But you see how easy it is. Those corners are already poked out. Amazing. I really like this size. I really, really like it. Now we're going to go and press this down. I'm sure you don't need to see me doing that. Pretty simple. You don't need to do this step. But I just like to. But we're going to go ahead and fill it. I usually keep a rule about half to 2/3 because I'm going to want to have room to fold this down. And if you wanted to, you could go ahead before you start filling. Go ahead and fold down your hem. So you're going to fold down once. Don't worry, I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to fold down once and press. And then we're going to fold down again to finish off that hem. And it's still going to be a really good size. But you can pre-iron. And a pre-iron will mean to where you're going to make that hem just much easier. And then just unfold it. And we're going to start stuffing it. So let me move some of my stuff here. And we are going to do the eucalyptus first here. I'm going to work on this bag. But this just keeps it. And yeah, it still smells amazing. You'll never believe it. I don't know if it was last spring or last summer, but I'm telling you, my eucalyptus rice bags, infused rice bags, were one of the top sellers. And I sell lavender too. They're just such a refreshing smell. But just do little by little. And you see, we got the bottom part just a little bit more, and we'll be good to go. And I always just get one of those big jumbo bags of rice, and I keep it here in my sewing room. So you see, we've got, that's a pretty good amount. it's about half, as you can see. We could do a little bit more, but I think this is just the right size. And so since we ironed it down, look at this, y'all. Look at this. It's it's just folding back in place real nice and easy. And so sometimes, I don't know if anybody's ever showed you this trick, but this is something that God just taught me to do. If you're worried about the rice going anywhere, go ahead and just pin right above that rice line. And these pins will keep the rice, because as you know, if we go over the rice with the needle, it's bad news for that needle. But this just kind of keeps the rice in place to where it doesn't go down. And see, I'm holding it upside down with the open end, and it's not coming out. So it does a pretty good job, believe it or not. So we already got it. I mean, it's just folding down real nice. So all I'm going to do is like 1/8 of an inch right on the edge and sew that shut. And it's right along the line of my seam gauge that I like to do. So, okay, and that for that end, sometimes we'll get stuck. It's a little bumpy. And you've got a lot of weight. Now be sure to lift this up sometimes, kind of like with your hand, because it's a lot of weight. And then just backstitch again. If you have to skip over a little bit because it's too bumpy and won't go. But just make sure you got a straight line. This is why I love this seam gauge. Just in case, keeps me on my toes. And just sew off. So you get all of that thickness at the end. And we are going to cut our threads. Okay. And we'll remove the pins. And voila! Very, very cute. And it just, I love the binding edge. It just looks more professional. There's the part that we sewed. And you see where the stitches skipped a little bit at the beginning. You know, no one's hardly going to be able to notice that. Except for the back side. We're going to need to cut that out a little bit. And if you wanted to, you could go back over it the opposite direction, and that'll clean all that up real nice. But as you see, it looks very, very neat to me. So relaxing and so cute. And we made this in 13 minutes with all my talking and explaining things. So really, really easy. You put it in your little box, ready to go. And we can go on to another one. And I will make one more while you guys are here. Another thing I'm just being reminded to mention, infuse your rice with the oil. If you leave the oil just on the rice, I will go through, get a container about half full or a third full. I'll put in a few drops of oil, my essential oil, whatever I want to use. And you're going to go through and you're going to infuse it. Some people use a spoon or something. I just use my hands. I want to make sure I know and feel that rice is really infused. And you can tell by the feel. And then you can tell by the smell test if it's the strength that you want it. But he wanted me to remind that. So we're going to go on to the next one. And again, it's just a 5x10 piece. You could do 2 5x5s. You can do any size you want. As you see from these were a lot smaller pieces compared to that. So it doesn't matter. Even this almost looks like a different size. So if all you've got is like a 3.5 to 5 inch squares, I mean, do them. If you've got bigger ones, you can make the channel ones. I know so many love those. But we're going to get back to it here. But we are going to iron this down. Right sides are facing. You'll see that's the good side. Those are facing. We're going to iron this down and just simply sew up those two sides. These are so fast and so easy. So there's the folded edge. And again, like before, we're going to sew up one side. Don't cut our threads. Just bring our threads back over here and sew down here. Easy peasy. But this is real time. I have not paused it at all. So these are amazingly quick. And the oils, being around the oils and smelling them, it's very relaxing. You will find it's one of the most relaxing sewing projects you will do. So if you're restless and can't seem to sleep, go to the sewing room and make some lavender rice bags, and it'll fix you up real good. So we're just going to cut our threads here. And you see I didn't cut. I just went from one side to the other. And like I did before, just so it turns out, you saw how the first one turned out. It was really fast. Just make sure you don't cut into that seam line. There, just take it nice and slow. Some of us have been cutting with these for quite a while, so it doesn't take much to see the line and know how much distance you have to go. All right, there we go. Crimped edges, sewed lines. There's our folded edge, and here's our, well, if it will separate for me. And there's our open edge. We are going to turn her inside out. And if you got a fancy poker outer like I do now, I've been using pins, screwdrivers for I don't know how long. So here we go. Boom. That fast, y'all. That fast. Look at this, real time. Boom. And it's out. Okay, these are awesome. I'm going to give you guys another close-up. These are awesome. Anyways, we are going to iron this down to make it easier. And then like we did before, a total game changer, we are going to iron down that hem. So I just ironed everything flat. I'm going to sew the first edge down. I'm going to show you something too here. Because it looks like I was a little off with the edges. You see that? But you're not going to see this because this is going to be the bottom part of the hem. So we're going to fold down one more time to make that hem. There we go. Nice and neat. And there we go. I love the yellow. I love it, love it, love it. It's neat. Okay, so we're going to open her up like before. And our pre-infused rice, we're going to start pouring. And there you go. We're almost half. We'll go just a little bit more. And I think that's plenty. Yeah, that's plenty to me. If I can show you the line there. But that's plenty for me. And so, like again, I like to do this just as a safety. And so, I don't have any rice shoving closer to my where I'm sewing at, so I don't have to push rice away while I'm actually sewing. Ain't nobody got time for that. So yeah, just pin right above that rice line. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Just right above. And boom. And now we're just going to fold this down again, because it's already pre-ironed. So it's folding down really nice. And we're going to sew that. And sometimes when I'm making a lot of these, what I will do, and I think because I always seem to get stuck if you start right there. So what you can do is like start about a 1/4 inch down, and then when you're done, come back around the other side and just sew it down. So I'm going to show you guys those whole steps. So I'm going to start excuse me, about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch down. And I'll show you how you can do it if you're really having issues with it getting jammed there and not being able to go anywhere because of the bulkiness of it. But I'm going to go ahead and cut those threads. And you're going to have to flip it front to back to get it close. And as you see, that rice is not going anywhere. It's amazing. So you see there, I didn't sew a little bit of it. And we're just going to flip it over. And we're going to sew that shut. And you can see your line, so it's really just following it. And it's only a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, so it's not that far. And here we go. Back stitch. And back stitch at the end, and just sew off. And there we go. No catching with the sewing machine. You've got a very sealed stitch. This thread must be static. And nicely finished. There's the front side, and there's the back side. So no loops in your threads. Everything's even. Everything's really secure. Let's take out our pins. And now we have another very nice, very, very secure with this binding. Very secure rice bag. These are so cute. These are my go-to. I absolutely love them. And I only sell these 2 for $5 to still keep them affordable. Sometimes I'll put more prices, but there is a lot. You are using rice. You're using essential oils. You're using the fabric, and you're using everything else. But still at 2 for $5, they still sell. Really, really good. And as you see, we're at 24 minutes right now. So these don't take long at all, and they're just awesome. They make awesome gifts. Like if somebody's having a rough time and they don't feel good, they have a headache, you give somebody a infused rice bag and they smell it. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. But yeah, I store them in these containers so I don't have to worry about moving anything, and I fill up one scent and I go to another. So I'm glad you guys stayed with me for this tutorial. This is my go-to small rice bags, and we'll see you next time. Bye.